What's up? Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, and welcome in to a later, if you're on Twitch, a later than usual MVP Games Live, but welcome into MVP Games Live. I am joined, as I always am, with my beautiful co-host, Soapy Muffin.
Hey!
Soapy, how's your Tuesday going? It's been a unique Tuesday for us here at MVP Games Live.
Yeah, it's been something, all right, to say the least. But before this, it was going pretty good. Now it's still going pretty good. But like Ricky said, starting a little late. But
I was gonna cut you off, and then I was fucking like, ooh, that's probably rude. But yeah, Soapy and I decided we had stuff like left over, like the Avengers DLC. We're gonna talk about Sony and like. What was the exact article about them? It was them basically
they promised more PlayStations.
Yeah, they promised that they're making more PlayStations. We had like Mortal Kombat skins in Shorty But a Goodie. We had something with Hitman, I think, in Shorty But a Goodie. But basically we looked at it and went, we really don't want to talk about this today. We don't want to talk about any of that. It didn't really get our jimmies going, if you know what we mean. So Soapy and I spent the last couple minutes brainstorming.
Sure. Couple.
It's only 35 minutes, not a lot.
Yeah.
Kind of brainstorming what we could talk about. And there were topics thrown around. Some were very good topics. Others were not so good topics. Most of the good topics coming from Soapy, and most of the bad topics coming from me, but that's besides the point. We're going to push that to the side. But today our patron, JD, came through for us, and he's actually given us a topic through our reader mail. So today's going to be a reader mail episode where we're going to talk about JD's topic, and I'll get to that in a second, because first I got to do the housekeeping. If you want to be in on the best community on the internet, you got to join the MVP Discord. That link on YouTube is down below in the description. !Discord in the Twitch chat gets you in, and you can talk to everyone in the MVP community. If you want to support us, what's the word I'm looking for? Want to put in your own reader mail, you got a topic in gaming you want us to talk about, patreon.com/MVP vids is how you do that. Also, thank you to our Patreon sponsors, Pat Hill and Philly Sean. Patreon.com, that link down below in the description, or Soapy's already put it in Twitch chat for you guys. Last but not least, we are on Twitch every Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/MVP vids. But we are also on YouTube at MVP Entertainment as well. And a special kind of PSA/warning for you guys. I've already warned Soapy, but for some reason, and Soapy, I don't know why this has happened, once 3 o'clock hit for me, I have gotten so tired to where it's like my energy, I don't know if you guys can feel it. I'm trying to keep the energy up, but my energy levels just went boo and just dropped to where it's like, man, all I want to do is go fucking take a nap. So if you hear me yawn, it seems like I'm a little tired. That's what's going on with me behind the scenes. Just wanted to let you guys know. But Soapy, what we're talking about, and this is coming from JD, one of our patrons for Patreon reader mail, is we're talking game franchises, and we're specifically talking about should they have a shelf life, meaning the example that was brought up was Call of Duty. Should Call of Duty have a shelf life, where instead of every November, we're talking about the latest Call of Duty that's going to come out, and we're playing Call of Duty, and they're coming out with one each and every year. Should it have a shelf life? Should it basically have an end where it's like, you know what, we're not going to make a Call of Duty game this year? Or I would even say, should it have a fixed shelf life where maybe the game shouldn't come out every year, it should come out every couple years, kind of keep it to where it's like, because there are games where you can come out with one every year, but is that going to put the best game forward? Or is it just going to seem like you're a money grab trying to grab whatever money you can? I'm going to let you start, Soapy. I'm going to let you start and go with the franchise. I used the Call of Duty as kind of the example. You can run with that if you want to. But is there a game franchise that you think about that it's like, you know what? We kind of get a lot of these games. Maybe it should have a little bit of a shelf life.
I am gonna roll with the Call of Duty one, and it's
Okay.
because it's one of those things that I believe it should have been canned a while ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean a while ago.
Yeah.
Like I think I would say pre Black Ops 3
Mm-hmm.
was when like it's basically that's when like I think like Ghost and Advanced Warfare came out like basically back to back.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I was like, no, end it. You guys have not like, oh, you have peaked,
Yeah.
but more of like, no, I'm seeing where this is going and I'm not liking it at
Mm-hmm.
all.
Yeah.
Of where obviously, this is when we started getting more DLC weapons that are
Mm-hmm.
better than every gun in the game. We started seeing more loot boxes being introduced, which have variants of weapons that are better than everything in the game. What a shocker! You can probably see where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow, a money
Trying to do
grab
the money grab.
franchise became more of a money grab. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how. Like an actual like printer to like a fucking printing machine that prints money somehow like doubled down on itself, and it's become even more of a license to print money. If you're starting to get into legal trouble for gambling
Mm-hmm.
in your game, and your excuse is it's not gambling, it's loot boxes like that, no, that is when it's just like, okay, no, you gotta draw the line, shit's done,
Mm-hmm.
be done with it. Obviously, it's one of those things. They've kind of like gone back up in the swing a little bit. Like they're not as bad as they used to be, but even at that,
Mm-hmm.
and this may be the nostalgia speaking.
Yeah.
I'll blatantly say it. It may be the fact, I get to sound like the fucking old guy of like, oh, back in my day, Call of Duty used to be good. It was never good. It was just I was a child.
Back in my day, it actually felt like it was a good game.
Yeah. And I feel like the direction they're going with it, like they haven't made enough changes to reinvigorate the series of where now it's literally the exact same game every year. Especially with the new format they've taken on for combat, it literally from like the last three games all felt exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, Call of Duty has had that problem for quite a while.
Yeah.
But like whenever you switch from Activision or Infinity Ward to Treyarch, like you would at least notice slight differences.
Mm-hmm.
All the games play exactly the same now. Like
Yeah.
there is no difference. It doesn't feel different from each other. The only thing that's different is like Treyarch has like zombies and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing that feels different now.
Well, and even like
Of
with the
where
zombies, you even said you've watched Twitch stream of the zombies for Black Ops Cold War, and you can't stand it now.
Yeah, of where it looks like it's gone completely away from where zombies originated at. Of where it's just,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I'm gonna go here, buy this door, buy this weapon in the room. Oh, I found mystery box, cool.
Yeah.
It seems like it's gone from that to where I saw someone pull out kill streaks. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, one, that's some bullshit to start with.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a whole different rant about how I can just hate that they ruined something I loved.
And
I think
mean,
it's
the thing, I'm going to cut you off for a second because the one thing I want to throw out here is, for me, when this was proposed by JD, I kind of had a little bit of a hard time wrapping my head around it. And the reason why is I immediately like went to I don't want to say like cynical answer, but I almost went to the answer of like, no, or the answer of like, no, they're not going to ever have a shelf life. Call of Duty will never be the one where it's like, hey, we're going to stop making a Call of Duty game. Because like you've even said, it's a license to print money. You fucking put that Call of Duty name on a game and people are going to buy it in droves, even if it is the exact game. Hell, they could have easily taken the last year's game, said it was a new game, and people would probably still buy it. Like that's where we're getting to it. So like for me, it was kind of like well, is this going to be a big conversation where we're saying, oh, they should do this, but they're never going to do it. And like, I think of with me, it's one of those like why I feel like I read an article today where it's like, apparently like there's data that single player games are thriving. And I look at it and I go, think of all the single player games you've probably have played. They're games to where it's like they come out one year and then it's like, okay, we're going to take a couple years off. Like, I think of Spider-Man. Yeah, I know they came out with Miles Morales, which kind of breaks this, but like in the main story, they came out with Spider-Man. I think it was now we're 2 years out from that. I think 2018 was when the PS4 Spider-Man came out. And right after that game finished and people finished playing it, the first thing Insomniac got was, when are you guys going to make the second one? What's the news on the second one? And Insomniac came out and said, "Yo, we're glad you love the game, but we're taking a break. We're going to take a break, then we're going to come back. We're going to then get working on number 2, but we'll get working on that when we think it's right." Whereas Call of Duty, I kind of want to even say like you brought up Mario in our pre-show discussion, but like Call of Duty, any sports game, it's basically, all right, we finished this one. All right, we got this team working on these updates for this game. All right, we got to get working on the next one. What can we already do next year?
Yeah, and just my whole thing with Call of Duty is, I think, and like JD said, I think by this point, like, yes, the Call of Duty name still sells a lot, but like, I think they should go in a different approach now. And it's mostly because, and obviously, once again, this does just come from personal opinion as well, because obviously this entire thing is opinionated.
What do you mean by different approach?
I think they should focus more on, like, for instance, for a while, they started focusing more on, like, futuristic stuff, but it felt like they were handicapped because they still had to keep the realism of, like, hey, you're going to use the exact same system that Cold War will use.
Yeah.
Like, not exactly Cold War, but, like, for instance, Infinite Warfare, the one that they put in fucking space for part of the campaign.
Yeah.
Like, with that, it was like, okay, that's futuristic. Then right back down to World War II. Like, I think it's one of those things that they should have different, I want to say, like, they already do different games, but the studio should have it to where it's like, okay, this is like this studio's 2-year window. You guys have 4 years to make a game, or more or less of just, like, okay, these people, 2 years for this game. They have those 2 whole years. You can work on your game for 2 years. Once their life cycle is ended, drop it. Like, you can then drop another one, and just continue to cycle that way. Like, I know they already kind of do that.
Yeah.
Because, for instance, since they brought in, who does the new Call of Duties? There's another company in there.
Treyarch and Ravensoft did this one. But then they have Infinity Ward, or was it Sledgehammer? Activision is, like, they own the Call of Duty stuff. But it's like,
it was Infinity Ward, Treyarch, and then I know at one point they had Sledgehammer,
but now
Sledgehammer got
Ravensoft.
dropped. Yeah, of where I think it's just one of those things that I think right now, I think it's on a fast track to the point of where it's like, okay, once we have enough experience with the way your game currently runs, people are going to get the exact same problems they started having with, like, Infinite Warfare.
Yeah.
With, like, Advanced Warfare, with Ghost, with other games like that, over it's like, okay, change the formula, because now we're tired of it.
Yeah.
And obviously, for instance, those games also suffer from poor balancing. The player base, I don't want to sound like an asshole when I say it, but I'll do it anyways, because I'll be the asshole of the show. The fan base grew up and realized, hey, why spend $60 to now $70 on this game when I can go buy Red Dead 2?
Yeah.
Or I can go and buy Ghost of Tsushima. I can go play God of War. I can go play Spider-Man for the same money and get such a better experience out of it. Or hell, they can even switch over to other shooters that are out. Valorant's out. Valorant's better than any Call of Duty that's come out in like 10 years.
And like, that's the thing I wonder, especially with Call of Duty. Like, you can say this with Call of Duty. You can also say this with all the fucking sports games out there as well. I kind of look at it and go, because they're coming out with a game every single year, is there not enough time to really think about it and go, okay, what can we add to the game to really make it different? Like, I think back to the first World at War and how much of a game changer it was when they were like, yo, we're adding a new mode. It's called Zombies. We're adding a new mode, Nazi zombies. You're going to be able to kill Nazis that are zombies. And everyone's like, holy shit, this is awesome. And I remember playing it for the first time with Dave and going, holy shit, this is fucking awesome. Like, getting that ray gun for the first time and just being like, this is something I've never experienced in a Call of Duty game. Is number one, I look at and go, is that really the problem of year after year after year, they're trying to come out with a new game that it's like, you know what, we don't even have enough time to brainstorm and feel like, okay, what can we do next with this series? Because, like, I think of two game series that I love, BioShock and the Batman Arkham series, and I look at it and go, you look at BioShock, the first one came out in 2007, then the second one came out 3 years later, 2010, and then Infinite another 3 years later in 2013. Even the Arkham games. You had Arkham Asylum in 2009, then Arkham City 2 years later, 2011. Yeah, they had like Arkham City Lockdown, but like Origins 2 years later after that, 2013. I know they had the mobile game, and then they had Arkham's Origin Blackgate, but the next real installment was Arkham Knight, which again was 2 years later for 2015. And now it's set in the same universe, I feel like. The Suicide Squad game, Kill the Justice League, you look at that and it's like, holy shit, like that's going to come out in 2022. It's going to be 7 years in between that and Arkham Knight. So, like, is it
also don't forget the Bat Family game.
And the Bat Family game. So that should be 2021, I think, for that one. I think that one's coming out first. The Suicide Squad game will be 2022. Like, is that the problem with Call of Duty and really these games we're going to bring up of, like, is there such a demand for, oh my God, we have to get this out, that maybe the company, yes, you're losing money. So if you're not going to put out a Call of Duty game, you're going to lose money that year. But is it something to where maybe the game could be better if they go, hey, we're going to take a year off in between Call of Duty games to really try to think what can we do to make it the great game for you and to add new things and make it feel different from the game before.
Yeah, it's companies need more time because, like you brought up with zombies, it was even with World at War, there was improvements in zombies throughout the DLCs. For instance, Noct was just like the first implementation of the mystery box. Then I think it was Verrucht was the next map that came out that introduced, like, once again, still confined sort of area, but it introduced perks. Yeah. Shino Numa opened up the map completely to where now that was the first experience of larger maps. And then Nocturne Toten, or it's not Noct, it's whatever it is. I know what it's called in the later games. I think it's like Thrice, I think is what it's called in World at War. That implemented the Pack-a-Punch while bringing in everything together to make it the best map in the first game. Sorry, just gotta hammer that one home.
Yeah.
And it's everything like that. And also, that was also the first implementation of Easter eggs. Because that's how you had to get the Pack-a-Punch, if you had to link the teleporters. There's other shit you could also do in it as well. And, obviously they added those later in the game. Of, like, the 400 times they brought that map out afterwards. But, and then jumping from World of War to Call of Duty Black Ops, there were still improvements, like more wonder weapons were added, new sort of things like that, but it wasn't as significant of a jump. Like, each map didn't bring out something new until I think it was, I don't want to say Moon, because I think that's giving Moon too much credit, as much as I love Moon, of like, oh, here's an equipable you have to have, which is the spacesuit.
Yeah.
But then it's also, there's another equipable you need to do certain things in the map, like where you need the hacker thing, or where you can hack doors open. I think there's just not been enough improvement in the games from year after year after year, especially like with modes that make your game special. Like, for instance, Infinity Ward completely dropped Spec Ops for a long ass time.
Yeah.
And all they were was campaign and multiplayer. It's like, okay, where's the third? Treyarch offers the zombies, and zombies was good in like every game till this one. But it's like, oh, it implemented all of these things. Like, okay, where's yours? And then Ghost, they're like, hey, Extinction. And everyone's like, this is zombies, but shit. How'd you fuck up the thing that you have 3 years of fucking, like, 3 other games to look at?
This is zombies, but shit. One thing that I'm thinking of, and this is coming from JD in chat. So he says, I will say last year's campaign was super good. And so far, Cold War's campaign is also good. So like that they are so I like that they are focusing on campaigns. Maybe transition to a story-based game. And that got in my mind of, could we see a could we see Call of Duty go to the model of like, okay, the game that you're gonna buy, like, I'm already gonna answer my question with a no, because most of the people who buy Call of Duty are buying it for multiplayer. Choo choo.
Yeah, it's Call of Duty fanboys.
The Call of Duty train, baby. The COD train coming on through. But back to my point, like, there's a part of me that goes, Warzone's free. So you can download Warzone without having to basically have the next game. Does Call of Duty basically make it to where, like, all right, multiplayer is going to be free. So we're going to make multiplayer our Warzone, where you get in the Warzone app, you get not only the Warzone mode, but you get some of the other multiplayer modes. Maybe they don't go as in depth because it's like, okay, I'm giving you a free game. But at the same time, if they did that and then made the game just campaign, that's all you're focusing on. You're focusing on that maybe every 2 or 3 years, you're coming out with a new Call of Duty story. Like, would that be a smart plan for them to do? Or would it basically be saying, no, we're going to kill our revenue because most of the people who buy our game buy it to play multiplayer, not the story?
Yeah, and obviously I do want to address the two type of story things that JD brought up, of like a Fallout type game or a direct story game like Spider-Man. I don't think the setting that they do for Call of Duty really works for those.
Okay.
And it's mostly because, like, with Fallout, for instance, you know, the reason Fallout works as well as it does is because the setting that Fallout is in. And obviously, you know, I'll gush about Fallout any day of the fucking week. I love Fallout.
Mm-hmm.
But I think doing an RPG with Call of Duty would just be weird.
Yeah.
And like a direct story game, I think it's more or less of, I don't think they should go that route. Like, obviously the campaigns, I think they've been good when they do them. Well, I mean, some of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I think taking an approach where, you know, you do put a lot of emphasis in the campaign, I think should be something. But once again, it's kind of like you said before, of like, you kind of answer your own question of like, it's not going to happen though.
Mm-hmm.
And it's simply because campaigns have a shelf life of like, you play it once and that's really it.
Yeah.
Of where multiplayer, it's like, oh, you know, I got like 30 minutes to kill. I guess I'll play like some team deathmatch or something. It's one of those things where like Call of Duty is trying to walk that weird line between a time killer and a story game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you just need to fully embrace one of them. Now, obviously, you know, like you said before, like, single player games are on the rise again. But it's one of those things of where they're on the rise because so many great single player games are coming out right now. And a lot of multiplayer games that are out aren't really the best. Of where, for instance, you know, like, obviously, like, we have Valorant that came out, like, that's good. But, like, other shooters, like, Battlefield 5 sucked. And I won't even be the first person to tell you that game sucked.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, dude. If I ever get to make videos, I'll just say, like, hey, Battlefield 5 fucking sucked for the rest of eternity.
The thing I think of when you say that, though, is what you said about Call of Duty is, like, they're stuck between a multiplayer game and a story game. And I just think of the line where it's like, if you're trying to do two things, like, if you're trying to do two things very well, you're doing two things not well, or something along those lines. Where basically, if you're trying to do both of these things at the same time, then really are you really exceptional at either format? Like, is Call of Duty an exceptional campaign? No, I don't think it's ever been. Is it an exceptional multiplayer? There have been years where I'm like, wow, the multiplayer is really fucking good, but like, I don't know. Maybe it's just because the multiplayer is just so it's basically the same multiplayer, just with a different skin on it. Basically different maps. Like, oh, it's a new map I have to learn in my brain.
Yeah, and that stuff of where I think the shelf life comes in of it's gotten to the point of where every map is the exact same formula.
Mm-hmm.
I even made the joke before we started the show of fucking Nuketown needs to be retired because goddamn, I'm tired of seeing what they did to my boy.
Fucking love Nuketown, man. Like, you can't have a fucking Black Ops game and not have fucking Nuketown in it.
I mean, you can. The only reason we haven't is because everyone's like, I want Nuketown, you mean Nuketown?
Dude,
And then they fucking make it worse and everyone shits on it.
Nuketown's
like, the fucking
boss,
Nuketown
baby.
sucks.
Nuketown is the boss.
Like, I'm just saying, dude. Like, they need to stop bringing out Nuketown. I don't care if it's the best map in fucking Cold War.
Dude, nostalgia kills, baby.
Congratulations.
Nostalgia
you finally
kills.
hit after the last fucking 2 times you missed.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, basically, it's more or less, I just think Call of Duty I think it should have ended a while ago, and it's because now they're starting to hit that rut again. I don't think they can reinvent themselves. Because what exactly are they going to change? Because before they were like, oh, this is your loadout, boom, that's it. And now they're like, oh, here's operators, and it's like, wow, cool, these are the same operators every year.
Mm-hmm.
What are you guys going to do now? If possible, I'd like to transition this over to another game franchise. If you
go ahead.
All those times.
I mean, we've been talking about Call of Duty for most of the show, so go ahead.
And I definitely fucking know that I'm gonna get shit for this one.
Okay.
I think Mario should not come out with any more games. Like anything under the Mario name.
Why?
Should not be happening anymore.
See, that's the one where it's like, you brought it up pre-show, and I was like, I'm not really jiving on that one, Big Fudge.
See, because my whole thought process is, so the most recent Mario game was, Mario Odyssey?
I think so. I'm looking it up. I'm looking up the Mario games.
Now, see, let me point this out. What game that came out in the past was basically the same as Mario Odyssey? Okay, I'll give you a hint. It has the name of the console it was on in the name.
Wii U?
No. It's Mario 64. Yeah. Odyssey is literally just a reskinned 64.
Okay.
But it's also, this ties into not so much hot take, but it's more of people let Nintendo get away with stupid shit that they don't let anyone else get away with.
Mm-hmm.
Because Nintendo literally, with every single Mario game, and this is where I don't want to say my Mario hatred or my Nintendo hatred, but my dislike of Nintendo is I hate they get free passes on all the shit they do. Mm-hmm. Because in the grand scheme of things, Nintendo games are not good. Because one, their console.
Why are you gonna be hating on fucking Nintendo games,
you hate on Anthony Edwards, I can hate on Nintendo. I give my fucking time to shine. I think it's one of those things that I think Mario has outlived its state. Yes, Mario is still one of the biggest names in gaming. But also notice, they're just rehashing ideas they've done in the past, and no one seems to care. That's my whole point of, if you start having to rehash things you've done in the past, you're running out of ideas. I know people would be like, but Mario Party and Mario Kart. Mario Kart's been the same since the fucking first one.
So, the thing I will say about Mario Kart is the latest one that they came out with. Yes, although the pricing of it, where you have to actually get the fucking, cars, and you have to have the space for it. Yes, those are barriers, but I do like, and I will applaud the innovation to try to take something like Mario Kart that's been the same thing for years and say, hey, we're going to not only put it with augmented reality, but also make it to where we're going to let you have your creativity, to where it's like you get to, based on your house, make your own course and then get to drive the car around in that course.
See, and that's a cool concept, but once again, though, not even has space for that. And even that, I consider that more like a spin-off Mario Kart game, more than the actual next iteration of Mario Kart.
It's the next iteration. I see it as the next iteration, just because it's a Mario Kart game. It's just they're doing it in a different way.
Yeah, I guess, but it's the reason I don't view it as a full-on thing. Is basically it's just, I don't know how to explain it. It's more or less of just, I want Mario to end, because it's one of those things that they're gonna start rehashing shit that they've done before, and I'm just gonna be like, oh my god, dude, Nintendo's such an innovative company. I can't fucking believe it. It's gonna like literally, it could be Nintendo just recreates the first ever Mario game, which they did 15 goddamn times.
So the one thing I will say is, looking at the Mario timeline, it's unique in the sense of it's very staggered. We're like, so Mario comes out 1985, before either you or I are a twinkle in our father's eye. So it comes out in 1985. 1986, the next year, they come out with Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels. Super Mario 2 doesn't come out for 2 more years, or three years after the first. So 1988 is 2. But it's like 88 is 2. Later in 88, actually 2 and 3 both came out in 1988. Super Mario Land came out in 89. Super Mario World came out in 90. But then it's like, yeah, they had Super Mario 2, 6 golden coins in 92. But the next game we would get is 95, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. And then 96, the big one, the next big Mario game, which would be Super Mario 64. So what, you're looking at almost like a, without the other two, you're almost looking at like a 16-year gap. Then from 96 to 2002, take another 7 years, if my math is right, 6 years, to make Mario Sunshine, Super Mario Sunshine. Then take another 5 years to do Galaxy, another 3 years to do Galaxy 2. Yes, there are games like littler games in between. It's just with Mario, I think the big thing is, the big complaint with Mario that you should have is not necessarily, it's not necessarily that they're trying to come out with a Mario game every year. It's that these little itty bitty games like new Super Mario Bros. Wii, I would say even like Super Mario 3D World, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, I think that was, but like the 6 golden coins that I mentioned for 2, those games, it's like, okay, let's stop doing the little games. Let's just focus on big Mario games, even if it takes us 4 to 6 years in between them.
Yeah, it's just my whole thought process with it is, for as little as they put out the big games, they're still the same fucking game every time.
Yeah, that's what,
like,
would it be better than if they just cut the little ones out and just gave you, yes, it'd be the same play style but different story, but it would be more time in between them.
I mean, I think just my whole thing is they just need to stop Mario.
Okay.
It's the same thing with where I also feel with Sonic. I'm not going to spin this into Sonic. They just need to stop making Sonic games. Because obviously, if your whole fan base is telling you the games fucking suck, then you definitely need to... That's when you need to reconsider making games.
I'm trying to think when the last Sonic game that came out was.
I almost said Sonic Adventures, but I don't think it was that one.
No.
But basically, it was... I'm trying to think. Because it's just kind of steering it still into Mario.
Mm-hmm.
I think my problem is, like, you have every once in a while the innovative Marios of like Mario, like Super Mario Maker. Super Mario Maker 2 is the exact same fucking game with like one thing added. Like, that's my problem, is the innovation in their games is not happening. It's literally the same game with like one thing slapped on, like, boom, $30, here you go. It's like, couldn't you guys have just made that an update?
Can I ask this then? Should we not be talking about shelf life in gaming? Should we be talking about laziness in gaming?
Well, no, shelf life, I think.
Like,
what I was mostly
are the big game franchises, like Nintendo with Mario, like COD, are they getting lazy to where it's like, we don't need to be innovative because they're still like, the sheeple out there will still buy our product?
Yeah, I mean, that could be something we talk about as well,
Mm-hmm.
but mostly with shelf life for me, I think it's one of those things of like, and obviously, you know, you're going to have the Nintendo fans that once again are going to shit on me for shit talking Mario.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, no, you know, we need Mario. We need Mario. It's like, dude, if you've played any Mario game, Congratulations, you have played every future Mario game that comes afterwards.
Damn, be hating on the Mario, bro.
Dude, I don't even hate Mario that much. It's more or less of just like, hey, understand, your games are exactly the same. I don't want to hear Nintendo fans shit on anyone else because you repeatedly buy the same game over and over and over and over. Do you see where I'm going with this? And over. But dude, fuck, they're more innovative with Legend of Zelda, and that's the lesser known of the two. Like, you've actually had like innovative game changes in between each one.
Yeah.
Where obviously, for instance, they're probably going to stick with the Breath of the Wild formula for a while because that's a fucking cash cow. But like, it's one of those things that once they went 3D, it just feels like it just feels like Mario 64. That's all it feels like now.
Well,
Where
now
obviously Odyssey was a little different, but
do you give them props for doing Super Mario Maker? Like those have been the newest ones.
Yeah. I think it's once you break away from the mold that you've established, I think that's when you deserve credit. But if you just keep releasing the same game over and over and over and over again, and there's no change beside one thing, it's like, okay, why should I keep buying your games? Because I even said this before to someone. I'm like, you could play the first ever Mario game, and you've played every platforming Mario since.
Yeah, you said it 2 minutes ago. Not even 2 minutes. Like, so your problem isn't the Mario name. Your problem is the Mario platforming game. That style of Mario game is overdone.
I mean, it's more of just once they hit something in that style, they repeat it over and over again. Where, for instance, Super Mario 64, like I said, Odyssey is basically Super Mario 64 with new graphics. And, like, for instance, Super Mario Maker 2 is the exact same game. Nothing changed. Besides, they added, like, one tiny thing, which even that, it's like, that's an update. Why is that a full-priced game now? Of where, and even at that, like, we didn't even bring up the best Mario game, like Mario RPG.
Okay.
Like, Paper Mario, like games like that.
Your favorite in Paper Mario?
Yeah. But, it's just stuff like that is what infuriates me, and that's why I think it's one of those things that, like, that's where I think Mario's shelf life is. Dude, you can be inventive with Mario. You don't have to just stick to the same formula. Nintendo, I know you're not listening to this. You'll probably find some way to copyright strike us because Nintendo's a bunch of assholes.
Nah, we ain't using their footage. They got nothing on us.
Oh, they'll find some way. They'll be like, he said Mario, get him.
Nah, dog, we have a fucking opinion.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, Nintendo, I know you're not listening. I know you never will. Please, for the love of God, actually just be inventive with your franchise. You don't have to worry about people not buying your games. You're Nintendo. People bought an entire console to solely play your games.
So, can I say something that, like, is on the other side of it? And maybe this is a thing of, like, on the Nintendo side of, like, I get Mario's your main guy. He's your bottom bitch, basically. But you know what Nintendo game I would actually like Nintendo to fucking focus on and give me another great version of one of these games? Star Fox.
Facts.
It has been literally, 23 years since the last good Star Fox game? Meaning they've all been bad since Star Fox 64, if you didn't catch on to that.
But Ricky Krazoa Palace.
Dude, the fucking dinosaurs, baby. Star Fox Adventures.
I fully agree with you. I think it's...
Can I go on a quick aside?
Sure.
Have you ever seen the JonTron video where he does Star Fox Adventures?
Yep. That's why I remember Krazoa Palace.
You know what I learned from that video when I watched it? I learned, because he did the research, that apparently Rare was developing a separate game that was supposed to, so the female Star Fox in that one was supposed to be her own character. It was supposed to be their own Rare game. But then basically Nintendo came along, because Nintendo was, I think, it was going to be for the GameCube. And Nintendo was like, yo, we know what this game needs. We've got a mascot that's a fox and he's got a tail. So we're going to go ahead and put Star Fox in this game. And that's how it became Star Fox Adventures. I just look at it and I go, maybe Nintendo should spread the love with its other mascots. Maybe fucking, like, you deal with Mario too much. Give me another Star Fox game. Especially, like, You look at a game like Star Wars Squadrons that people are having fun with. You see like the Xbox flight simulators. It's like you can't give me something with Star Fox, and it's been that many years. It was just a quick thought I wanted to get in there after I'm thinking in between you bashing on the fucking Mario love.
I mean, hey man, dude, it's maybe just maybe when they finally decide to re-innovate fucking Mario and stop
Mm-hmm.
making Super Mario 64 over and over again, or just any fucking Mario game, I'll greatly appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. And
But
like,
it's also
I do want to say I agree with Dark Ages as well, where he says that, and this is a point that I've even said earlier on. It's like he goes, this may be an unpopular opinion. I don't think it is, by the way. But to me, it all depends on the franchise and if it can find new ways to reinvent itself while never straying away from what made it worth gamers' times. Taking a series like God of War, for example, while it still stars Kratos, the story, lore, and gameplay are different enough to feel fresh and original. I agree with that. Like God of War, the latest one that was on the PS4, it was still Kratos, but it was like, hey, instead of dealing with all these Greek gods that we did for 3 games, we're going to fucking have it in Norse mythology. Oh, these blades that you had, the Chaos Blades? Oh, you don't have those anymore. You got a fucking axe. You're basically Thor. You throw it. It feels really good when you call that fucking thing back and Kratos catches it and you're like, oh man. It just feels so powerful. Oh, by the way, Kratos has a kid. Like, what the fuck? Like, shit was different, but it was still a great game. Game of the year candidate. The only reason why I didn't pick it was I think it was in the same year as Spider-Man. But, like, that's what I was trying to say before of, like, when we're talking about Call of Duty, it's a tricky thing to reinvent your game while staying true to what it is if you're trying to pump out a new version of your game or of your franchise year after year after year after year after year.
yeah, and I fully agree with that as well, especially with the fact that he's brought up Mass Effect 2 as well. Like that's what made Mass Effect 2 so memorable to people is that it was so different than everything else out
Mm-hmm.
of where like people still borrow ideas from it. Now,
Mm-hmm.
granted, obviously you can argue that Mass Effect 3 and Andromeda like began to like borrow, like kind of rest on the laurels, which does kind of go into the laziness.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's one of those things that, along with like keeping the idea that is it worth gamers' time, I think it's important to also point out as well with doing that that having a how do I want to explain this? Because the God of War example is a perfect one. Because it's complete, like it feels completely different than the first 3. We don't count Ascension because Ascension's terrible, but it's so much different that it reinvigorated it. That's kind of like my point I was trying to make with Mario.
Mm-hmm.
Of like every once in a while, like yeah, they do one thing and then they go right back to the well they already know.
Yeah.
Like that's my thing of, and I think that's kind of where I think the shelf life comes in. Of if you run out of ways to reinvent yourself, like I think that's when it's kind of like okay, like you pull the plug on it a little bit, or like you begin pulling the plug because that's, for instance, I think that's where a lot of shelf lives come in.
Yeah.
Is especially because some games just have infinite ones you can come up with. Like for instance, and it's gonna sound weird to say, like Pac-Man's one of those games that like it has a shelf life because there's only so much you can do with a square or with a circle that runs around in a maze.
Mm-hmm.
There's only so much you can do. But games that are like RPGs, games that are like real-time strategy and stuff like that, like there's constant innovation you can make to them to make them still feel unique. Where obviously I'm not just trying to bash on older games. Like I know I shit on Nintendo, which is everyone's favorite company, and then I basically just kind of bashed Pac-Man. But it's I just think it's one of those things that I think certain game types have shelf lives. Like I think shooters have them in the sense of you need to find some way to reinvent like your gameplay. Because Call of Duty kind of did that, but now I think they're starting to get to the point where like, okay, how do you reinvent it again? Because now players are starting to get tired of it. Like I think that's where shelf life comes in for me. And obviously, and once again, I may just be the biggest hater on the planet for hating a wholesome company like Nintendo. Who knows?
Wholesome with all those fucking copyright claims they fucking put on
I mean,
people?
yeah, but like, dude, it's like you've seen.
You can't play our game. We don't want you to play our game. Well, you can play it. You just can't show it to people.
To be fair, they've reeled back on that. They don't do it as much anymore.
As much.
They just only affects them when you make money off of it, because then they get mad.
Yeah.
But I think that's just my main thing.
Mm-hmm.
That franchises that have been around for such a long time, I just noticed them going back to the well that they've already drained and just trying to dig deeper to find more.
Yeah.
But they're not finding anything else. They're just hitting exactly what they did before.
No, I get you. I feel the same. It's just like a main thing, like we mentioned with Call of Duty, we talked about it a lot earlier in the show, of like, it's hard to reinvent your game when it's like, oh shit, we got to come out with the next one next year at the same time. And it's kind of easy to fall into that rut of, well, you know what? We don't have to do anything special because fucking they're going to buy it. Like, we don't got to do anything special. They're just going to fucking buy it. But any final thoughts, Soaps, before we end the show?
Nintendo, please, for the love of God, be innovative. Call of Duty, please stop making Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
Sonic, please make an actual good game. Or just stop. I was about to say Valve, please make a fucking game, but that's not so much of shelf life. That's more of just do something.
Yeah, poke it with the stick. Do something.
Yeah. I mean, they technically did something with Half-Life Alyx, but like, dude, no one's fucking played that thing. I don't know how that thing got nominated for anything for the Game Awards.
Apparently, it was a really good game.
I mean, yeah, that's cool. The 5 people who played it must have really enjoyed it. But yeah, that's basically it.
All right, that's going to do it for us today, though. Remember, join the best community on the internet down below in the description or / Discord into Twitch chat. That is the MVP Discord. Like I said, best community on the internet. If you want to support us, patreon.com/MVP vids is how you do that. Thank you to, first off, JD, patron reader mail for today, but also Pat Hill and Philly Sean, our Patreon sponsors. We're on Twitch every Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/MVP vids, but we're also on YouTube at MVP Entertainment as well, so go and like and follow us at both places. Soapy and I will be back tomorrow for another MVP Games Live. Dave and I should be up next with MVP Sports Live, and as always, have a good day, everybody.
Bye!